Hello everyone, welcome back to the Smith Corner. And today I kind of want to talk a little bit about this live action Avatar series it came out like today. And it's not good. It's absolutely horrendous. The writing is terrible, but as a writer, there's specific things that kind of offended me the most. But at the same time, it's like I can kind of see why they wanted to do these decisions, but it doesn't work. It absolutely doesn't work. And then there were some moments where I'm going to tell you right now, they absolutely missed opportunities in ways that it wouldn't sound so cliche. So I'm not even gonna. I don't have a script for this. I don't want to spend a million hours writing a script just to talk about one episode that I've watched, because I don't even know when I'm gonna watch the next few episodes. So, right to the point. 3 things that I really don't like about the writing so far. 1, everything is just exposition. It's like character A appears. Oh, I am this, and you are feeling this. Oh, okay, well, I'm also feeling this, and I need to go do this. I don't know, it's so hand-holdy, in which the explanations just kind of, they do nothing for the characters. They don't let the characters show the kind of people they are. They just want to present it right away. And it's such a waste, especially if they want to do something into live action. Let me tell you, here's my belief about live action. Live action should only exist if you want to kind of expand on a story or show us a little bit extra here, a little bit extra there. But everything needs to have a purpose. And the things they expanded upon just don't have any purpose at all. So, for example, another gripe I had with the writing was the air nomad genocide. So, obviously, there's always been... It's always been something that's never been shown, but there's a lot of stuff that's been implied. I remember the card game, a very obscure card game, showed that there was an air nomad that betrayed everybody else and told the Fire Nation where the temples were. You know, that's a little bit of expanded lore. I would have been interested in seeing a little bit of that. But everything else, like the actual fight between the Air Nation and the Fire Nation, it just kind of feels like an excuse to have an action sequence. And it's like, yeah, I get they want to do Game of Thrones, but how should I put this? The action goes nowhere. It doesn't add anything interesting. And it's just there to be flashy. It's just a flashy fight. In fact, it actually takes away a lot of the impact from later scenes where, like, Aang discovers that his people are dead. He goes away because he doesn't want to take the responsibility, and because he's scared that being the Avatar in these times is going to take him away from Monk Gyatso. However, in this series, this live-action series, they kind of take away from that, because instead, Monk Gyatso tells him directly he's the Avatar, and he's immediately like, okay, well, you're gonna have to go train, and if you want to save the world. But the problem is that Monk Gyatso and Aang kind of come to an understanding where Aang actually accepts his duty. He doesn't leave because he runs away. He leaves just to clear his mind because he's talking to Appa about a bunch of concerns he has. But, you know, he doesn't, and hell, even in the end, he has every intention of going back to the air temples, but then he gets trapped under the water in the iceberg. But that's the thing, it completely changes the kind of person Aang is. Aang is guilt-ridden by the fact that he ran away from his responsibility. But that's kind of taken away here because he no longer ran away. Now he was going to come back. And that's a huge mess. But also, it seems out of place to kind of show this huge event happening. It's kind of like, I guess they were trying to go for kind of like an Order 66 of the Avatar universe, which it kind of is. It really is. But there is one scene that I think absolutely worked. The very first scene that opens up the series is literally just an earthbender running through the streets of what I assume is the Fire Nation, and I assume it is the Fire Nation because, you know, the war hasn't started yet. It's been 100 years before. It's 100 years prior, before the war actually starts, And there's this build up where it's like, oh, you're going to attack the Earth Nation. It's like, no, fool. Haha. Well, guess what? I fooled you. We're not going to attack the Earth Nation. And it's like he's trying to figure it out. Like, wait, was it diversion? He wanted us to have that information. And then his solely realization, he ends on the quote, I'm aiming much higher. And it's like, that's the moment where you end it. That's where you end the intro and you fast forward to 100 years. But no, they don't do that. They continue on to the Air Nation, and they kind of try to do a little bit of what that episode where Aang has his flashbacks about why he left, and it's just so rushed. But again, that's just one of the additions that I liked, and one of the additions that I didn't like. Okay, well, one addition I did like is the whole Comet Festival, because that wasn't there in the original Avatar, and, you know, to see that some airbenders all kind of reunited in one temple for the celebration, okay. That was an okay little tidbit of world building. I like it. It's okay. It's harmless. But Jesus Christ. Oh, and let me tell you a little bit about Zuko. So everybody who watches Avatar, absolute most recommended redemption arc for a villain, Zuko's redemption. And I bet they're going to botch that up. And mind me, I've only watched one episode. I watched it with pals, and yeah, we just got angry the whole time. It was hilarious. I mean, but we had fun with it because we know a lot about this show. We love this show, you know. We're fans. We're huge super fans. But me as a writer, I'm just kind of like, there is a point in the very beginning of, well, not the beginning, after the whole, Zuko finds out that the Avatar is there in the Water Nation tribe. He goes there to attack, and one of the quotes was, oh, there's plenty of us here, we can take them easily. And Sokka challenges Zuko to a one-on-one fight. And Zuko, and here's the quote, says, where is the glory in that, in response to the soldier? And I'm like, what do you mean, where's the glory in that? You're not going to say, where's the honor in that? And it takes away so much from his character. And, you know, it sounds like a little piece that doesn't really matter. You know, like, what's the difference between glory and honor, right? And we don't want to say honor too many times because, you know, at that point you're just shoehorning it in. Even though the show is kind of shoehorning a lot of stuff in. But let me tell you right now, as a writer, one word can completely change the characteristics of a character and the way we, the audience, perceive a character. Again, this is another lesson in show, don't tell. By changing, well, not even changing, because I think that's a brand new quote from directly from the live action Avatar. By having Zuko say, where is the glory in fighting this person one-on-one? It's no longer about him being honorable. It's about him wanting fame, wanting the glory. It's a little bit more selfish, as opposed to where's the honor in fighting one-on-one with Sokka. And honestly, if they had just shown that, if they had just changed that one word to honor, it would have been a callback to all the times he says honor in the actual series, the real series, the animated one. But it also would have been a nice little subtle hint that Zuko, even though he appears evil, his character might run a little bit deeper than that, which it does in the main series. But it would have been just a nice little subtle way of doing things, and that's the thing. This show is not subtle. It absolutely holds your hand through every little bit of character development and every little bit of intention, and it robs so many moments. Even little quotes like, hey, you're just a kid. And it's like, so are you. With the original fight between Zuko and Aang has so much to do with like the state of the world, but you know, it's kind of skimmed over. And you know, there's certain things that I understand because, you know, you're trying to adapt this into a much shorter segment, and I can already see there are some things that I would definitely not want to be in there. The Great Divide episode, that can be skipped over. Let's see what else. There is a moment which I think is from... Oh, wait. Forget everything I was about to say right now. I want to talk about the ending of the episode because... Let me tell you. having the whole Air Nation slash Fire Nation battle, that spectacle, robs a lot of moments from the ending of this episode, which kind of feels like it should have been the start of episode 2. So they reach the Air Nation temples, and Aang very quickly realizes that everybody's gone. He sees Gyatso dead, and of course he has this little tantrum. I mean, who wouldn't? You just found out your entire race is dead, but that's the thing. He doesn't find out that they're dead, because he already knows this going in. And fine, okay, he saw Gyatso. But it wasn't even Katara who tells Aang to calm down. And the whole speech about, oh, we're your family now, kind of doesn't make any sense, because, to be honest, Sokka in this series is kind of a jerk. And Katara doesn't have as much development. So, there's really no connection between the main cast of character in the first episode. But if you're going to end it with her snapping him out of the Avatar state, it needed a lot more development. So instead, they have the memory of Gyatso calming him down. And also, this skips out on one of the coolest scenes in the entire series, which is when the whole world discovers that the Avatar is back. Because in the original series, he comes into this hall in the Air Nation temple where he's surrounded by his past lives. And that's kind of intimidating, because that also shows the kind of responsibility that he has to undertake. The kind of responsibility he has to take on, and they don't do that. It's immediately goes to the Gyatso moment, and going into the Avatar state the very first time is what sets off the statues, and that goes all around the world, and the entire world instantly knows that the Avatar is back. So, but that moment doesn't happen. They kind of do it in the very beginning, of the episode, but it's so minuscule in detail that it's not given the grandeur of it. There's no build up for it. It just kind of happens. So yeah, I feel like Netflix focusing more on the action and the live action robs a lot of time that can be further used to develop characters and could actually develop world building without having to specifically tell you what the world building is. And of course, I mean, as writers, you can't expect to show everything, because then you're gonna have an entire huge ass tome that no one's gonna read through, or this is gonna take too long. But there are certain things that are better to tell, and certain things that are better to show. And they choose the worst things to show and the worst things to tell. Oh, and by the way, if you are a fan of Avatar The Last Airbender, you're going to know that Monk Gyatso took the air out of all the Fire Nation people in his chamber before he died. We all know Monk Gyatso is a badass. Airbenders are badasses because we know that they have those latent abilities that are just kind of well, yeah, we're peaceful, but if you ever fought with us, we'll just literally rip the air out of your lungs. So, they don't do that. Yeah, they don't show Monk Gyatso doing his final stand. Instead, he doesn't really defeat anybody. He just kind of gets clapped pretty easily. And yeah, everything in that scene is completely unnecessary. Doesn't add anything to the world building, except that you get to see it, I guess. So, in writing, they say, if nothing changes by you seeing the event, what's the point of showing the event? Just the implication of what happened, the way the world reacts to what happened, the way people react to Aang, that's pretty much, that's it, that's all you need. But yeah, I do think, based on the first episode, which I will be watching the other episodes, I don't think I'm going to be making vlogs for each one of these, but yeah, I guess we'll see what happens. But I guess those are my thoughts for now, and I don't want to run too long because I'm not gonna edit this. I'm just gonna slap it on there. If you want to listen to me, listen to me. If not, not. But I guess it's training if I ever want to do a podcast. So if you're ever interested in hearing my thoughts, like, subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Laters.